Yeah, music has dropped since the year started.
Yeah, I've been surprised about the quality we've gotten. I've been pretty happy with it.
There's one thing that matters. There's one thing that I'm playing. That new Bad Bunny dropped.
Yeah.
Osei, how do you say the album title correctly?
Let me read it.
It translates to I should have taken more photos. This is the follow-up to his project from last year that he dropped after the big album Un Verano Senti. I fucking love this album. What's it called?
DeBÍ TiRAR MáS FOToS.
Yes, I should have taken more photos. This is a project that he's really dedicated to Puerto Rico, where he's from. I've never really been a Bad Bunny guy. We'll just get that out. Like, I've appreciated it. You know, I think that obviously with the Un Verano Senti album going so crazy, you hear that whenever you went outside to a lot of places where the DJ knew what he was doing. Like, it was going off. And when I heard shit, obviously, and like when I got put on from you or Jeff, I always loved what I heard, but I never really had a connection with him as an artist. I just kind of knew he was the biggest. And, you know, there's a huge language barrier, and I'm a very big lyrics person. I sat down to listen to this album with zero expectations at all. Just like, you know, I want to hear new music right now. I was bored of what I was listening to. This was one of the best musical experiences I've had, first listen and every listen since, in a very, very long time. Blew my mind completely. And I knew he was valid, but this made me a legitimate fan. It's been interesting for me to like kind of dive into the person and all of the meanings behind this, because apparently this is his most political project so far. This is him really, I guess, he said that he found his sound on Un Verano Senti, and then he went to this last project. I don't know the name of it, but it's trap, which is what he came up doing. He's always been a rapper traditionally. And he's doing this, he's speaking in Puerto Rican slang. So he said himself that he thinks that some of his stuff didn't connect with everybody, because even Spanish speakers don't always understand exactly what he's saying and the nuances to what he's saying. And he obviously, like, you know, he was talking to the New York Times. They asked like, oh, does that bother you? And he's like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't care. I'm just doing whatever I want because that's the art that fulfills me. And he did that. And now he does this where he's fully even further diving into who he is and where he comes from. And it's beautiful. I really, really love it, bro.
Yeah, I mean, that point you made about like people not really understanding is a thing, like especially with like Puerto Rican slang. Like I feel like when I listen to music, like especially his music, it takes me probably like 4 or 5 times to like really understand. And also too, it's funny that the trap album he dropped was received the way it was, because it was also just like a weird era for him where he was like dating Kendall Jenner, and people were like, bro, why are you trying to be white, but like why are you like straying away from like the culture, you feel me? Like, why are you like doing all this?
And he was living in LA at the time.
Exactly.
And he was saying that was the first time that he's ever been away from like Puerto Rico for such a long period of time. I think he said he was there for like 8 months. And so he felt very, very disconnected. And then he went back and he made this entire album in Puerto Rico. Every feature is a kid that's like 18, 19, 20 from the Puerto Rico School of Music. And he's just like, it feels like he fully immersed himself in his culture again and kind of had like a rebirth, and was like motivated to not only dedicate the album to it, but now kind of educate and spread some of what's happening in his country to the rest of the world. You look at like a track like Turista, which I think has 2 meanings. Like obviously it's like a love song where like you were just a tourist in my life. You were here for the good parts, but you don't even know like why I am the way I am, why this maybe didn't work out. But then it's also the tourism problem going on in Puerto Rico. These people are here and enjoying everything that's happening, but they don't know all the political strife, all the things that the locals are struggling with. There's a song, I wish I could, bro. I be sounding crazy saying these names, like really, really bad saying these names. But
it's hard because they're also like uppercase, lowercase. Too,
yeah,
so you're like
bro.
reading it, you're like,
yeah. And the accent, I don't even know how to do an accent. I can't roll my R's or nothing.
Yeah.
But Lo que le pasó a Hawaii.
Yeah. No, that was good.
That one is talking about how like he doesn't want Puerto Rico to become like Hawaii, basically.
Yeah.
And how you've seen how, because Puerto Rico is part of the United States. It's a United States territory, but I think that like the people that haven't had voting rights, obviously, for a very, very long time. Like there was a corrupt guy in office, and he even a couple years ago put out like a song like coming out or speaking out against him and stuff like that. Like there's a lot going on over there, and I think it's over time become more of like a tourist spot. And I think that you really have problems when you then look at like the government and they're feeding more into like the tourist economy than the local economy and things like that. So having all of these layers and this messaging, and then it's an album where like it's salsa. and it's like salsa with 808s on the first track.
Yeah.
Which is fucking a crazy way to intro it. And then like when he's doing like the Bad Bunny shit at the end, bro, and like just kind of hyping you up. Like these sounds and this production is so innovative and so high energy. Like I play this shit at the gym. Every time that I've been going, I'm just like front to back, no skips at all. Yeah. And then the first song, the song that is going number one right now, Baile Involidable.
That's my favorite.
Bro. And that's the first salsa song to ever go number one.
Wow.
So like he's really making history with this. It's really been crazy because he's also only 30.
Yeah.
And is the way that we talk about Drake, the way we talk about Beyonce, the way we talk about all of these current day, these are the biggest, Taylor Swift, he's bigger than all of them and younger than all of them, and is able to still like have this very down to earth, bigger than him mentality about all this music shit and really stay true to his artistry. And it's like, I don't know, watching these interviews, I've just like, he's so intelligent.
So wait, Miles, I think you said something because I don't think I watched all the interviews that you did. And I think you said something about when he was just going all the way back to the Kendall Jenner era and all that different type of stuff. You were saying that was the first time he had been away from Puerto Rico for mad long. Is that what he had said in the album? Because it's funny because I do feel like Bad Bunny, like I feel like he had a moment when, you know, when you like go to college and you just like, you know, you may, like you like growing up with white people and you go to college and you meet mad black people. I feel like he had one of those moments recently because I remember when that comedian said the thing about like Puerto Rico is like trash or like a floating island of trash or whatever at the Trump rally.
Yes.
I remember him being probably the most vocal about that. Yes. And like there's other Puerto Rican artists, but like a lot of them low-key be Republican, like Anuel, like he was low-key on some like fuck that dude, but like I'm still voting for Trump. But like Bad Bunny was on some like, nah, like we not voting for Trump. Then he dropped like a mad long like either music video or documentary or something about Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
And then he transitioned into this album after, you know, creating probably more like commercial trap album or whatever. And he drops it on Three Kings Day or the day before Three Kings Day, which is a huge like second Christmas on the island. So and then obviously, you know, all the history, all the visualizers are talking about like gentrification and colonialism and like the history of Puerto Rico and all that. It does feel like he had like one of these moments, you know what I mean? Like an awakening or something recently. And I wonder if that's coming with age or just being in the US for a while. Or I don't know. It's interesting to see.
I mean, from listening to him speak, it does seem like just getting a grasp on what all of this is. Like he really said that, and I think we all know it. Like we've all heard about Bad Bunny. We've heard Mia was the first intro, the Drake song like years ago, you know, like he's been around and obviously like I like it with Cardi B. Like Bad Bunny's been a name, but Un Verano Sentí put him in a different stratosphere and kind of just cemented everything that was already happening with him. And from his own vantage point, he's like, okay, like I understand musically now exactly how I want to communicate my message and what I want to do with that. And I'm coming to terms with my stardom and shit like that as well. Like now I'm like, okay, I'm that guy. This is my power. This is kind of what I'm doing. And I think that now that he's lived in this a little bit more, he understands what matters to him.
For sure. And
I think that Puerto Rico really, really matters to him because like a lot of what I'm getting is from the Zane Lowe interview. And like it was fire to make like Zane Lowe flew down to Puerto Rico. They're in a coffee shop. Bad Bunny's just sitting there. He's got like the socks on with this flip flops, like just posted up, no chains, like none of the like super flashy shit. And he's explaining actually the title track of the album. It's
Nueva York?
No. The title track.
Oh, the title track.
DTMF.
Oh, got you.
And he's saying, so if you and then I look up the translation of it. And so he's talking about him and his friends, and he's basically like, oh, one of my friends has a kid now, and one of my friends is like buying a house or whatever, And like we're not worried about like the chains and the flashy things anymore. It's about making memories and doing things that matter and representing our culture and like really like big up in like where we come from. It's not about all the materialistic things that we've thought about. And I think that as a 30-year-old, that's probably what you think about because you get if any of us got money right now, you know what I mean. For the next couple of years, we probably wilding out. Even if we're doing good and like doing responsible shit, like, you know what I mean? We're going to try to like, you know, flex because we're new to it. We haven't had it for a while.
Yeah.
But this nigga's been up for a couple of years, not even a couple of years now, several years now. We just got hip to him. But even before we was hip, the nigga was making money and like moving around. So now I feel like he's probably gotten jaded by that type of lifestyle, and it seems like he's really matured.
Yeah.
So, that's dope.
No, I mean, I kind of felt the same way. First, one thing I wanted to also mention is like, I feel like this is like almost a second part to Un Verano Sin Ti, or like maybe a response, because that's like very like young party music. It's definitely the new wave. He's putting his own spin on it by making melodic, but it's a summer. It's literally a summer album.
Yeah, and
this is like a Christmas, New Year's Eve, like Christmas time in Puerto Rico album. So I just felt like, and it's more like, but when I first heard it, I'm not even gonna say I didn't like it, but I'm like, bro, this dude made like a cookout album, like an Unk album.
Shit, I guess.
It's an Unk album for sure, bro. But then I listened to it again and I was like, nah, like he's incorporating first a lot of reggaeton in it, and then like the newer elements too, and he's making it a new sound. So there's that, and then even speaking to the title, now I'm even realizing like the fact that, you know, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, he's just doing like the cookout thing. Like when I went back, I was like, I'm familiar. Like the plastic chairs is a thing.
Yeah.
You feel me? And then obviously he's got plantain in the back. But now I'm thinking he's not even in the photo, and that feeds into the title as well.
Yeah.
Like it's like he's literally missing from the album cover.
Bro. No, I cannot emphasize enough. Like, bro, like when we're all up and like all this shit is like what is gonna be, bro. Like I really would want to like listen to that DTMFR song and like just like, it's really just some shit like you sit back and just reminisce with Gang, bro. But what he did with Zayn was he played him the first 3 tracks of the album during the interview, and like kind of just like explained it based off that. And I think that that's a really good gauge of the album, because he did everything in Puerto Rico except for he was in New York for 2 months because he was filming Happy Gilmore 2. And he said that when he recorded in there, he had to he bought like 200 Puerto Rican flags, like everything, and had to deck out the place he was living, and he recorded there just to make it feel like he was back at home, to like really like get into the feel of the album. But so Nuevo Yo is that kind of like salsa mixed with like the modern day vibe, you know, and it's a little bit like of a homage to the Puerto Ricans living in New York and that community and like something like them.
Yeah, I feel like he also had like some elements of like dembow in there, which is like more Dominican stuff, so
right?
Like the mixing of cultures out in New York, you know.
Exactly, and he's like kind of like, he described it as like, okay, like I'm bringing you in, like this is something you'll understand, and then the second track is like, now I'm going to take you to Puerto Rico, and that's like, he says, a very just classic reggaeton song. Which I think is fucking. That's the one that I want to hear outside.
What, the second one?
The second song.
Wait, what's the second one called?
Voyage.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then we get into the third track, which is the pure salsa song. Now we're in Puerto Rico. We're there. Let me give you what this really sounds like. And that's obviously the hit and what's going right now. I'm not mad at that one being played outside either.
Yeah.
That one is the one that got me, because like after the first section, when there's just that drum break and then you get like some jazz chords, and I'm like, what the hell is this? I was not expecting the musicality of this, and I'm not somebody that's well versed in Bad Bunny's catalog. I've listened to Un Verano Sin Ti. Did I say it right?
Un Verano Sin Ti.
Un Verano Sin Ti. And I've listened to other songs. I haven't listened to whole albums, but it's been a lot of reggaeton from what I've heard consistently.
Yes.
And so just the flurries into other genres that I wasn't even hip to were so fun for me, because I think it showed me how much I appreciate surprise in arrangement. You know what I mean? Like in music itself, I think everyone knows that there's 5 or 6 chord progressions of 4 chords that make a majority of popular music and popular American music. So when you can surprise me again and again and again over the course of an album with weird things, where on a couple moments I feel like first listen I thought my shit broke, because it just like clicks.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I'm like, wait, is this still on? And then he like brings it back in. I don't know. I was consistently surprised by the music, and I didn't have an interview that I watched. I didn't read any translations, so I didn't know anything about this meaning. Yeah. It was just all a feel from the music. Yeah. And I got some of what you said, to be honest, just without even understanding the words, just from like hearing that music.
Bro, and like that's why I think it's so cool for us listening to it, because I like you said, I don't know nothing about nothing. I'm not obviously like the first like 2-3 listens of this. I'm just like hearing it. And it's like a new thing every time. Yeah. Even still, when I'm going back and listening now, I'm picking up, because like, you know, I mean, I took like a fucking like high school Spanish, so you pick up on a word here and there, and you can start to like kind of piece together, once you get used to songs, what he's talking about, and again, like from his tonality and the production and things like that, you can kind of get the vibe of what certain things are about. But it's really a surprise every time I press play. I'm finding new things I love about the project. This is this is some of his best work. And I think it's cool that it hit me this way. And then now that I'm reading like the critics' opinions and like fans and like people who will really like listen to his music, they all kind of have the same sentiment. I feel like everybody loves this album.
Yeah, it was really cool for me because even just like going to PR like during Thanksgiving and like just seeing my family and like I got uncles over there and a bunch of cousins, but all my cousins are a little bit older and they all have kids now. So like I was over there and I was literally an uncle, but these kids are like 6, 7, like 5, like 1, like they're all like super young. You feel me? So I feel like when I went back and I saw like, you know, my family there, who I hadn't seen like 2 years, I was like, wow, this is like really crazy. And like now we have a place to stay there. So I'm like, I got to come back more often. So for this album to drop, it was just like an interesting timing, you know, because especially for me, I feel like because it's on my mom's side, like what defines being Puerto Rican for me is the food, the language, and probably like dancing and salsa because my mom loves dancing, right? She loves salsa music. And so like when it comes to like language and stuff, like I'm not all the way comfortable. And then when it comes to like cooking and stuff, I can't really cook like that yet. You feel me? So those are 2 things I got to work on. But my mom always at least taught me the basic steps of salsa. So that part of the culture is like something that's super important to me in terms of growing up. Like it was like one of the only ways to define that for me, because even if other people didn't know, it was like, all right, but it doesn't matter. Like my mom is like fully Spanish and like I know this rhythm, I know this music. So for him to like pay homage to that, I don't know, it was super interesting past few months of just like, you know, being re-immersed in the culture. And like, I don't know, it definitely makes me want to go back to the island and just like listen to it. You know what I'm saying?
I'm excited. I'm there in February, bro. I'm mad excited, bro. I'm finna be slapping this shit in Puerto Rico, eating good, bro. That's gonna be crazy.
For sure, man.
I'm very, very excited about that. I didn't even know he was from Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, I'm listening to this. I would have not. You could have told me this was from anywhere. Like the first time I heard this, and I would have believed you. You know, I had no idea that this was so like Puerto Rican at all. But just like you said, like by chance, that shit's gonna be fire. That's the only thing that I've been listening to though, for real, that's new. I feel like there's nothing else that really came out.
You just blocked out the Lil Baby album.